this is very important. In September, the elections in the province of Buenos Aires were held using the old ballot system. And parties adjacent to Kicillof printed ballots with the same coloring and similar design to the ballots from La Libertad Avanza. Many
Yes.
people were confused. The difference with the elections now in October were that we voted for the first time in Argentine history with the new single ballot.
Buy my novel, Escape from the Village, from major booksellers online. Go to escapevillage.com. Subscribe to the Substack. Go to fountainheadforum.substack.com. Support the forum. Go to buymeacoffee.com/fountainheadforum. Thank you. Welcome to the Party Pal. This is Fountainhead Forum 385. Lady Astor is back. She does publicity in Argentina. She travels quite a bit to the USA, in fact. She's got an event in Miami this week and an event in Nashville next month. But we're going to talk about the recent elections in Argentina and what's been going on and how this might impact what's going to happen in the world of Argentine politics. It's very good for Libertad Avanza. So this is great news. How are you?
I'm great. I'm just packing, getting ready to travel to Miami.
Yes.
Very excited about being back in America and participating from these Delphica Society events. We've opened chapters in LA, in DC, and now it's going to be Miami and Nashville. And upcoming are going to be Austin, New York City, San Francisco, and much more. So, very much looking forward to see you in one of those. I'm happy that I was able to see you in Buenos Aires a couple of months ago.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Yeah. So anyway, one question I do at the elections. You were parent. You recently mentioned that you were friends with Victoria Villarruel. What
I
exactly
used
happened
to
there?
be.
Yeah, you used to
Um,
be.
I just, I think that she was uh, badly advised by people surrounding her. I believe that she was advised to carve her own way besides Milei. And I think that that was a very poor choice. I
Yeah,
truly, I truly believe this. It's sad because in my opinion, she was the perfect candidate to uh, come after Milei in 2027. I think she's wonderful. She's smart. She has charisma. She has good looks. What else can you ask from a candidate?
yeah,
But I believe that she um, associated with people from the old politics, and her promotion of her own um, organization when Milei was elected in December 2023 was not um, perceived in a positive light by Milei's loyalists and by Karina, certainly, Milei's sister. So I think that it's like a confluence of factors that made it that Milei loyalists, especially younger people, um, kind of started to see her in a more negative light, whereas before people idolized her, like they saw her as the counterpart to Milei, who brought a little more seriousness and gravitas.
yeah. She always looks so classy too.
Yeah, yeah,
Can
this is what I'm
why don't you?
saying. Like, she's beautiful, and she's very smart. Um, and I do love her. I think she's a wonderful person. Just maybe I wish she would have asked me about certain things because we were working together before she was elected. And then someone like her first guy who was working with her, so is basically designing her agenda and all that. I think it was not a good choice. No.
Yeah, it's
And he also gate kept me a lot because I think that he presumed that I would be interested in his job, but I would kill myself if I had to go to the Senate every day. I travel for a living. I couldn't be static here all the time.
oh yeah, yeah. Well, you could be an ambassador or something like that since they get to travel.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really it's so yeah. I've never quite done a deep. Well, I've looked into this a little bit, but people who know her, it is unfortunate that this has happened. Milei can run again in 2027 though. So who do you
He
think might be
will.
who
He
do you think
will.
might be VP then in 2027? Do we have any idea yet?
It will be someone that reflects Milei in a positive light and that is loyal.
Yeah, let's hope so. I mean, I don't know what the rules are. I know. Is there any provisions where she can be removed, or is Milei pretty much stuck with her as VP?
He's stuck. He's stuck with her
Okay.
until the end of the, you know.
I know in America you can impeach a vice president, and I think it's
Yes, yes. No,
half the vote of it.
I think it would be like very complicated, and she didn't do anything so egregious that it would merit removal.
Yeah.
But anyway, like you cannot do this in Argentina. You're stuck with the guy that you chose, and this is something that Christina Kirchner learned the hard way in two opportunities. The first opportunity with Julio Cobos, who was from the Radical Party. They are basically Democrats. There's nothing radical about the Radical Party, but he voted like they wanted to increase the retentions to the countryside. It's like they pay people who basically are uh, in agriculture in Argentina. And as you know, agriculture is the main export of Argentina. They are basically the most important production block, more than industry. Argentina is an agrarian country. Like the basis of our economy is agriculture. Of course, animal husbandry, cows. Cows are a big
Yes.
part of our of our economy. So the Kirchnerista government with Cristina wanted to increase taxes and retentions to a point where it would have been kind of futile for people who live in the country who own the ranches and all that to even plant because of how much the government wanted to take. So they went to war against the government, and finally there was a there was a vote in the Senate, and because in Argentina the vice president presides the Senate, and they have veto power because their votes are worth one more, like as if it was like an extra senator. So in that time, Julio Cobos voted against Cristina, and then he became the traitor. And it was at the very beginning of her government. So she was stuck with him for the rest of the 4 years that she had, which something that she didn't like. But if she didn't remove Julio Cobos, who actually did something that for Cristina's government was pretty egregious, um, there's no way that Milei is going to get rid of Victoria. There's another part that is like Victoria Villarruel condenses a certain Catholic nationalist thought of the right. which is not very popular with young people. Let's say maybe, luckily, 1 to 3% of young people under 25 might be inclined, to vote for something like that. But the reality is that with under 25s, Milei himself alone is scratching around 65%. Like, so Milei doesn't need her in reality.
Yeah. It's just I just want to make sure anybody who blocks what he needs is out of there. We have some new cabinet positions coming on.
Oh, yes.
Uh, you know, uh, Wertheim resigned as the chancellor and is now or the and is now going to be the that's going to be replaced by I forgot what his name again, Kierno or
Oh, yeah.
what's
That
his
now Pablo Quirno is
Pablo Kierno? Yes,
the former finance secretary and an ally of Toto Caputo, the economy minister.
yes,
So I will say I feel that that's a good decision. Gerardo Vertine is a businessman,
yeah.
very prominent businessman, but at the same time, he's extremely close to the Clinton Foundation and to the Clintons. The man who has donated over $6 million to the Clinton Foundation. And he's, even though he was effective in his negotiations, his loyalties lied elsewhere. And there were rumors in DC about stalling of certain projects and a lack of will to work with Trump loyalists. It is well known that like in the foreign ministry, there's still a lot of holdovers from previous administrations. So if you ask people in the foreign ministry, I mean like the stable ones, not the
Yeah.
political uh, appointees, many of them would say that they'd rather uh, the Democrat Party be in charge, and that is not advantageous for Argentina at this junction, especially with the great help that Milei received from Donald Trump and Scott Bessent.
Well,
And I have to add that Scott Bessent is a personal friend of Toto Caputo. So this is going to make negotiations much easier, smoother.
okay, so you said Pablo Kierno gave money to the Clinton Foundation. Was that his own money or?
No, 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 darling. No,
Oh,
no, 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 no. Gerardo Verte.
Wertheim gave money to the Clinton Foundation. Okay.
Yes,
Okay. Yeah.
yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. That's yeah. I didn't like him very well, and I like him even less now that I've heard that. Uh,
No, I never liked him. And if I
well,
should
maybe
say something, I'm going to
probably not
confess.
fair because I really liked Mondino though. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I was hoping Mondino might come back, but yes.
I preferred her much more than Verthine, and to be honest, I heavily operated against Verthine.
Yeah. And Diego Santilli is going to be the Minister of the Interior. This was
Yeah.
after he ran for something else, and so I guess and Manuel Adorni is now the Chief of Cabinet Ministers. Yes, so
Yes.
the Minister of Foreign Affairs is Pablo Quirno. So those are some of the cabinet changes we have.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh,
Yep. So Guillermo Francos is gone. Um, so he's now replaced by Manuel Adorni, who was sworn in today. So now the Minister of Interior, Lisandro Catalan, resigned alongside Francos because he was his man. Now the successor is Diego Santilli, who's a pro and Macri ally. And he's going to be great for negotiating with governors, with lawmakers, and to building consensus on reforms. I think that Francos and Catalan were very good for the first 2 years of this administration. But now that people have given Milei again the mandate, I think it's time for a cabinet that is more loyal and more aligned with La Libertad Avanza. Less hold like people coming from different parties, a little mishmash here and there and everywhere, because but this is very normal because you have to understand that 4 years ago, Milei's party, La Libertad Avanza, did not even exist. So when he took office in what was an incredible reversal, people were not expecting Milei to win. People thought probably Massa would win because I will say that this happened again with this election. You have to understand that the Kirchneristas come from the Peronist party, who has been holding the reins of Argentina for many, many years. And they know all the insides and outs, like all the different, palatial intrigues. They know the world of politics very well. And then the Kirchneristas by themselves, they had been ruling the country since 2003. So, it's always important to have someone who knows how to run things when you first get in. This is something that also happened to Trump on his first government. Now he has more loyalists, but back then in 2016 he had to make do with whatever the Republican Party allowed him to have. Well, in the Milei's case, it's even worse because the party was brand new, and he didn't have the whole package of people that he could bring in to the government. So I think that a lot of ill-conceived decisions and sloppiness in these first 2 years stem from that.
Well, certainly. Do you think Catalan or Francos will go on and do something else, or where do you think they'll go from here?
I think that they might stay as informal advisors, but their stint in the Milei administration for now is done. I think that the two Caputos now, because they proved their worth, they are going to be given more reign.
Yes, they certainly have proven their worth. I mean, it's yes, Santiago is now in there, and so is Luis Caputo. Yes, it's
yes. So now
and one's the uncle of the other, right?
What?
Is one the uncle of the other? Is that, are they related or not, or is that?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So there, we have the only points of contention now that we don't know what's going to happen with is with Patricia Bullrich in security and Luis Petri in defense. Both of them played very good roles. They were very effective in their positions. I personally know about the defense ministry, and since Luis Petri took the helm for the first time since 1982, Argentina had proper investment in our defense and armed forces, which were completely dilapidated. The buildings look old. Like if you go to those ministries, you'd see that there's decades of neglect, and this was by design because if you recall, this story comes from way back, and the reality that not many people discuss is that when the military took over in 1976, it was because the country was undergoing great upheaval because of the left terrorism. leftist terrorism by groups like Montoneros or ERP. And already Perón, when he returns to Argentina in the early 70s, he returns and is elected by a landslide because people wanted him to fix that issue. And he was working on that. This is why he dismisses them from Plaza de Mayo, all the leftists. He tells them to go away because he does not want to support them. And also, when he arrives, there's a shootout between right-wing Peronists and left-wing Peronists at the airport of Ezeiza. This is famous. It's called the Ezeiza massacre. So
when is the Ezeiza massacre?
this is when Perón arrives to Argentina back from exile. He was living in Spain. This is 1972.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so in 1973, December 1973, there were plans by Richard Nixon and Henry Kissinger to hold a meeting with Perón in New York for a UN meeting. And the crux of that meeting was to fight together and build an anti-communist alliance of the Americas, joining the North and the South. So this dream that was not possible because Perón had a heart attack before flying, and eventually he died. And then Nixon was Watergated. And now we understand that that was a big crock of bull. Like, it was another trick by the usual suspects of the Democrat Party. He should never have resigned, but that's another story. What's important is that the situation in Argentina was a powder keg, and Perón was adamant that the leftist terrorists had to be stopped. As the situation was similar to what you have right now in the States with the murder of Charlie Kirk, with the active left attacking both civilians and members of the security forces, especially ICE, but other people too. There's too many people on the right that live under threat. And this is always the same playbook by the organized international left. And sometimes I wonder, it's very funny because if you ask someone in the US what's the most salient thing, they talk to things about Israel or Palestine or Ukraine, which are countries that are on the other side of the world, but they don't care much about their neighbor, Mexico or Venezuela in their backyard, who are actively undermining the United States of America. And they have operatives inserted in the country that are many times those who are part of the riots. When the riots in LA that were instigated by Karen Bass, I'm not sure if you understand that Karen Bass was trained in Cuba.
I don't know that much about Karen Bass, but it doesn't surprise me. I do want to point out, Richard Nixon destroyed our gold standard in this country.
Yes, this is really bad.
I will not. We will not defend Nixon for anything on this show. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that particularly. But why was Nixon elected? What was the situation?
Largely because people didn't want the crazy lefties running things. I mean, he absolutely. I mean, that was that election was a Yeah, it was very. There were a lot of things that happened. But Nixon didn't reject a lot of their policies. I mean, he supported a lot of things that were definitely much more on the left. It's
we're not going to rewrite history, but the fact is that he was elected to stop the left, and it's always the same thing. There's always someone that has to come to protect the people from the left. That's always encroaching. And when the left starts to lose, they always do the same thing. They switch to murder. That's always.
The
I
70s were very
always
violent.
in
There were
every
actually,
country.
there were. I mean, in 1975 there were two attempts on Gerald Ford, uh,
Yeah.
who was only president briefly and was not really very powerful either because he'd not been elected to either position. Yes, it's really bizarre what's happening right now in the country. So it's
It's important to understand that this is not happening individually in any given country.
yeah.
It's happening everywhere at once. The left has goals and they are coordinated internationally. And you have in America many countries that are run by Grupo de Puebla, which is the new name of the former Foro de Sao Paulo. And you have Claudia Sheinbaum as a member. And what did Claudia Sheinbaum do to one of her adversaries this weekend?
I don't know. She's the president of Mexico. What did she do?
Well, one of her critics was murdered by the cartels.
Oh
And it
yes,
is
that's right. Yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah, it's
everybody knows well that Claudita is the cartel's president. Okay.
well.
And
There's a
she was coordinating the LA riots with Karen Bass because they are both communists and they both are members of the same organization. And then people don't understand why is it possible that you have so many groups that are so perfectly coordinated and they have funding. Well, they have funding from ideologues and organizations who support the overthrowing of the American government.
we
And
certainly.
this it's the same people who hate Milei are the same people who hate Trump, and they hate the people who can pose a danger to them. Of course, there's nobody who gets to the presidency or leadership of a country that is perfect. But I always say this: perfect is an enemy of what's possible. And sometimes you have to take what is possible. Can you imagine what the world would be right now if Kamala Harris was the president of the United States right now?
Well, we'd have a more divided government, is what we'd have. I mean, our Congress would be controlled by the red team, and the presidency would be controlled by the blue team. But it would be very different, no doubt about it. I don't know if they were. By the way, I don't know if they were calling her this down in Argentina, but they were definitely calling her this in Mexico. They called her Que Mala.
Ah, yes, of course. Que mala. Que
Que Mala.
mala.
Yeah, Que Mala. Yeah, but anyway, it's yeah, she was and I don't know where we're going to go from here in America. I mean, what the thing that we have to realize too is in America, the college professors have not changed. They're the same as they've always been. I mean,
Yeah.
and a lot of people, and a lot of these colleges, people look to them from around the world for leadership in the world of ideas and stuff. What do you have to say about these elections? I mean, La Libertad Avanza now got 64 out of
Yeah,
127.
now we have 88 um, congressmen and women
Yes.
coming from 30 or something like that. And in the Senate, where we only had 4 senators, now La Libertad Avanza has 18 senators. So things are looking much different, much, much different. This is why I say that people gave Milei a mandate, and this was massive. Even the most optimistic people within La Libertad Avanza were hoping for 35%. So 41% exceeds any idea. But the thing is that
Yes.
something happened, and I think that people didn't understand what was going on. Many people abroad, outside of Argentina, were under the impression that Milei was running for office again. And this was not the case.
Yes, yeah, it was just the party running again. Yeah, there were people. I mean, even Trump's advisors seem to think that. Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely been.
So people were under the impression that uh, if Milei didn't win this election, he had to leave office, which was never a thing. That was a ridiculous notion. And what's even more ridiculous is that people thought that Milei was done just because in September he didn't get good numbers in a primary in the province of Buenos Aires, which is a single district, and
Yeah,
nobody was elected on that date. Like, do you understand? Like, we call
yes.
this to
Well,
make we call this making a bakery out of a little piece of bread. Hacer de un pancito una panadería.
yes,
Obviously, obviously, the international left has a lot of pull with media, so they sold this notion, and this is why the markets went crazy, because the people didn't really understand what was happening. What was the nature of this election? The election was just legislative.
yes.
So it's absurd that people were trying to construe it as this really hard loss from Milei. It's like saying, oh my God, Trump lost in Massachusetts. Well, yeah, obviously.
Well,
Oh, Trump lost in California. Well, yeah, obviously.
well, the Buenos Aires province is the most populated province by far, but yeah, as my grandmother would say, it's making a mountain out of a molehill. It's not really. And of course, the Buenos Aires province ended up being a big win for La Libertad Avanza. Not to mention
Yeah.
the Argentine stock market went up and all this other stuff. It's really was. I
Yeah,
mean,
and what's funny is that people in the US were moaning about the swap because they thought it was a bailout. That was never a
yeah,
thing, another lie that was peddled. And it really angers me because it was such an egregious lie. Okay, so they were peddling, no, it's like, why giving money to Argentina? First of all, there was never any money sent to Argentina. It was a currency swap that already made the US 10% richer and more.
yes, and at one point the peso was down to $1 for 1 13.55, and now the peso is about $1 for 14.79. So it's definitely had its
Mhm.
ups and downs, but it's certainly worth.
Yeah, I pity the fools who
Yeah,
spend hard earned pesos to buy $1 for 1500, you know?
yeah,
So those people didn't trust the government, and they took their bet, and it was they chose poorly, you know.
yeah,
But I think it was a master class from the left, especially internationally, of how to pervert information. Like, they were able to take that irrelevant primary
yeah.
win in a single province and project it as this great loss of mandate by Milei. This was never true.
Yeah, it's certainly it really was. Yeah, and of course now it certainly had its ups and downs, but I mean things like the Argentine stock market doubled and other things, and you keep rolling over this debt, and hopefully these debts will be paid off. When does the new Congress take office? Is that on December 10th?
December 10th, December 10th, and our friend Joaquin Ojeda is going to be sworn in. And do you remember that before the election, you were afraid that it may not be good because you too were overtaken by the leftist
Yeah,
propaganda that was everywhere? And I told you, no, be chill, because what Milei doing badly meant maybe 30%. And 30% was already more than what he had. So
Yes.
he was going to win no matter what. He was going to bring loyalists into Congress and Senate that would allow him to bulk up his voting blocks. What happened is that now the opposition doesn't have the numbers to veto everything that he wants to do in
Yeah.
terms of reforms. That game is done.
Who do you think are some potential allies to La Libertad Avanza? Because I know there's a lot of these little parties, that got 1 and 2 seats. Some of them were the provincial parties. I mean,
Yeah.
do you think there's some potential allies there? Because obviously, now according to what we see here, we've got 20. La Libertad Avanza has 20 seats in the Senate and 93 in the chamber. So that's getting in, between 30 and 40%, which is certainly they can't ignore you when you have that many. It's
Absolutely, absolutely. But Mauricio Macri, former
yes,
president and leader of PRO, even if he begrudgingly
yeah,
told Milei that he disagreed with some of the changes, he was able to put Santilli and many of his loyalists in government. Bullrich and Petri are also from PRO. So that I would say that PRO is the party that is closest to La Libertad Avanza. Then you have some parties from the provinces, all those small parties that you say, but there's a lot, still there's a lot of remnants of small leftist parties or social democrat parties that tend to be aligned with the opposition.
yes,
Regardless of this, they're not going to be able to do what they did for the first 2 years. That's for sure. It's impossible. Now, numerically, it's impossible.
yeah. I noticed there were, I think, 20 governors who met with Milei recently. Out of
Yes.
the 24 provinces, I can take a guess. Who are the governors that didn't go to that meeting? I'm going to guess
The
Formosa,
ones the the ones
Santiago
who
del
didn't.
Estero. I'm gonna guess those two. Am I?
I'm going to look for the list because I have the list.
Yeah. And I was giving provincial names, not the names of the governors, but yeah, and probably Kilisov wasn't there,
No, of course not.
or Kisilov, yeah. So
That's Kisilov is the biggest adversary of Milei, but it was really bad for him. So okay, so one by one, I have the list of who was not invited and didn't attend. Of course,
yes,
Kisilov.
did not attend. Yes, even though it would have been easy for him to attend, but yes, because he's the governor of Buenos Aires. But yes, he's the
Yeah,
governor
but
of the city, not the province.
no. You got that wrong.
He's the governor of the
Buenos
province.
Aires, yeah, the city of Buenos Aires is like DC.
Okay.
It's a
Yes.
district by itself. It's
Yeah.
self-governed. So, and it votes against the Peronists every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time. So Kisilov didn't attend. Quintela from La Rioja. Gildo Insfran from Formosa, I would say one of the worst governors. He's been in power for ages.
Yes.
He keeps people in the most abject poverty. His province is basically a fiefdom. It's horrible.
Yeah.
And
1994.
then,
Yes.
yeah. And then the guy from Tierra del Fuego, because they are from the hardcore Kirchnerism, but all the rest, they made it. So
Santiago del Estero did show up. Okay, yeah.
yeah. So let
Okay.
me tell you
Well,
by name.
that was one place where La Libertad Avanza got no seats. Santiago del
Yeah.
Estero with it. La Libertad Avanza was completely shut out of Santiago del Estero.
Yeah. So we have.
And from what I've heard,
So,
and that's a case too where it's been the governor or his wife in the governor's mansion since at
yeah,
least 20 years.
there's several of these provinces where these people have been in power for so long, It's horrific.
Yeah, you
It's
said
not
Tierra
good.
del Fuego. You said Kisilov. You said Tierra del Fuego. You said Formosa. And what was the other one?
Tierra del Fuego, Formosa, and La Rioja. Those are the four that didn't attend.
La Rioja. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
The La Rioja province. Yeah, that's
yeah.
also kind of up north too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Northwest.
northwest.
It's
Yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah. It has a border. It has a slight border on Chile. Yeah. So
yes, exactly. So those are all the provinces next to the Andes, to the mountain range.
yeah, although it kind of goes into the middle too. Yeah, some of those northern provinces definitely seem to be much. You got any explanation for why they're more poor? Is it because maybe there's more of an indigenous population up there? Or
Yes,
yeah,
yes. Honestly, yes. The most impoverished provinces are more populated by indigenous populations and more mestizos. The wealthiest provinces are the ones that are populated by more European descendants.
yeah. Well, Formosa has a border on Paraguay. Of course, one thing, a lot of these provinces are very small ones too. Though there aren't a lot of people here. It's
No, it's very, maybe large by territory, but small by population. Yes.
yeah, I've noticed it's all over South America. Is that more indigenous places are poor. I don't know if that's some people just say because they're more likely to get malaria and stuff like that. I don't know. It's
I don't want to get into
yeah,
human biodiversity,
yeah.
but they certainly have lower IQs.
I don't know if I want to go down that, but I know,
I don't want to, but
but
my mother,
Salta's up there though, and La Libertad Avanza is doing really well in Salta.
yes, but Salta is a mixture.
Okay,
Yeah. And I don't know. It's like there's provinces where nothing can be. My mom was a teacher for a very prominent school here, and she tried to build libraries and do educational outreach in some of these provinces, but it's very hard, and especially because there's no infrastructure and support from the governors. Like
yeah,
these governors, they want to keep people ignorant, they want to keep them illiterate. Some of the provinces of the north that have more indigenous population, we know stories of people from this governors, most of whom, if not all, are Peronists. They would take away the ID cards and vote in their behalf.
yeah. I've heard a lot of things like that, and some of these places too. There literally were places where Massa got 100% and Milei got nothing, which just
Fraud,
that's
fraud,
got to be
fraud.
flawed. That when you
There's
got it's got to be flawed when it's that
before we,
that
yeah,
bad.
very important piece of information
Yeah.
before we are done with our conversation. This is something that
Yes.
I omitted when I spoke about the election.
Yes.
This is very important. In September, the elections in the province of Buenos Aires were held using the old ballot system. And parties adjacent to Kisilov printed ballots with the same coloring and similar design to the ballots from La Libertad Avanza. Many
Yes.
people were confused. The difference with the elections now in October were that we voted for the first time in Argentine history with the new single ballot. So basically, you have one ballot in your name that is
Yeah.
approved with your ID card in the place where you are requested to go to vote. In Argentina, you cannot just go to any poll. You have to go to the one that corresponds to your DNI, to your national identity document.
Yes.
Okay? So the electoral office makes a thing called padrón electoral, which is a list where you go, you place your number, and it tells you where you have to go. So you have to go where you're told with your ID, show your ID. They have to check that your ID is legitimate. And now they give you a ballot. And the ballot has every single option. And you have to just make a cross to make your choice. So, what happened? You cannot defraud with this new ballot because it's one for each person in your name. So, what are you going to do? There's no way to do fraud.
It makes it harder, but sometimes people get creative. I guess that's all you had to say because you only said you had about 45 minutes. This has been great
Yes,
having you.
yes, yes.
Where can
But
we find you out there? And, you're just on Twitter, yeah, right? Yeah.
yes, Lady Astor, and I will ask for people who want to meet in real life to go to at Delphica Society, either on Instagram or on X, or to reach out to us on our Luma page, come to any of our events. If
Yes.
someone in your audience wants to attend one of the events, they have to write to me and let me know that they heard about it on the Fountainhead Forum, and I will give them a
Yes.
discount. And as for you, Chris, you are always invited to my events. So hopefully, I will see you either in Miami or in Nashville or at some other event.
Or in Austin. Yeah, you said you might be coming to Austin. So,
I am. I actually
okay.
have a date. I'm going to give you uh, very exclusive information nobody else will know outside of the Fountainhead Forum. This is
Yes.
exclusive for you, Chris. The date for Delphica Society chapter launch in Austin is January 16th.
Okay. Thank you. I'll make
You're
sure I'm here.
welcome.
So, yeah, that's great. Yeah, January 16th. We'll love
Always a
having.
pleasure.
Yeah,
Always a
Austin.
pleasure talking to
Austin has a
you.
lot of creative people, and we did have a big Ron Paul meetup. So please like this video, subscribe to the channel, go buy my novel Escape from the Village. People are giving me money at Buy Me a Coffee, and I do have a Substack. Thank you, Lady Astor. I'm Chris Baker. We're out. Buy my novel Escape from the Village from major booksellers online. Go to escapevillage.com. Subscribe to the Substack. Go to fountainheadforum.substack.com. Support the forum. Go to buymeacoffee.com/fountainheadforum. Thank you.